Okay, Public Works, November 21st. A roll call, please. Andrew Wilberton. Mrs. Gear.
Here.
Mr. Sims.
Here.
Mrs. Nelms. And Mr. Harden.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thanks. So first item of business, can we get a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks. All right. That is a motion by Ms. Gear and seconded by Mr. Harden. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. And then old business, first item is 2009-22. Mr. Pugh reported today that this item still needs to be carried over. Is that correct, Mr. Pugh?
That's correct.
All right, so without objection, we're gonna carry this over. New business 02-11-22, request for permission to work in the right-of-way to construct a parking pad at 906 Salter Road. Homeowner Joel Davis, and presented by staff Cale Smith. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, Mr. Davis has asked that this be dropped.
Perfect, okay. Can I get a motion to drop?
Motion to drop.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. 03-11-22, request for permission to work in the right-of-way at 911 Westover Drive to remove a pine tree. Staff Cale Smith.
Yeah, so the applicant, Mr. Elliott, are you here?
I am.
So he is here, has requested to cut several pine trees on his lot, and, he's gonna have to plant back a 3.5-inch caliper oak. In doing so, we found that one of the pine trees that he's proposing to cut is in the right of way, it's in the picture here. So do you have anything to add?
No, I think you said it quite well.
Bram, the arborist, has looked at this, and he said the tree appears to be healthy, but you can see what it's doing to the road and to the site. And so if the homeowner is proposing to take out the other pine trees, this one, he didn't have an issue with this one being taken out, so, since the homeowner is meeting MTD on the site.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for staff or the applicant?
Nope.
And so just to confirm, we're only talking about, removal of the trees, no replacement in the right of way, obviously, and then also the homeowner will need to sign the indemnification agreement as well
That's right.
for removal of the tree.
And we'll have that ready after next week, assuming it's passed out.
Okay.
And
Alright,
so do we, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, if there's no questions, does anybody have a motion?
Yeah, I motion to, do we move this on to council?
Yes, we would need to approve work in the right of way for, with the proper indemnification agreement.
Okay, I'd like to move that we do that.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes 3-0. 04-11-22, request for permission to work in the right of way, 1501 Roseland Drive to remove a pine tree. Cale Smith, city engineer.
Yeah, this is part of what may become a larger twin project, and they aren't, they haven't submitted any plans for review, and William's out of town. So I can talk briefly about what they're proposing. So this is on the corner of Roseland and Linwood, and this is the tree that they are proposing to cut. They want to put a driveway in along this location, and this tree is in the way. So that's it. Bram looked at the tree and said it's clearly healthy. So if there aren't any, I guess if they put in a driveway, they're going to damage roots here and that kind of thing. So his recommendation would be to allow them to take the tree down, but possibly pay back into the fund, into the tree fund.
Would that be a requirement for taking a tree down?
That's not a requirement.
You know, it's in the right of way.
It's in the right of way. We can choose to do what, yeah. You can choose to do what you want.
I mean, as far as options, I mean, you know, is that something too where, I mean, do we have a site plan then? to base this decision off of, to say, well,
No.
the tree stays, so is there another location for the driveway?
No, we don't have a site plan. It just came to me sort of in a description about what the homeowner wanted to do. And this was the first part of that process, was to be allowed to cut this tree down. So we can certainly carry it over. When William emailed me today, he said that he was out of town and we could carry it over, or he could carry it over.
I mean, I would lean towards carrying it over because it seems premature to go ahead and just remove a tree without, at this stage in the process, without additional information, but any questions from other counselors?
Is the perspective of you and Bram that pine tree is always a little dangerous, that because they have a short root system and you'd rather have an oak or something, because at some point in a big snow, those things might fall on your house?
That's out of my sandbox. I can't speak to the root system.
That's certainly a
I
concern.
think it might be a good idea to carry it over till we
Yeah,
have more
I agree.
information.
Yeah, until William can.
I agree. Let him show us the driveway and how he's doing it.
Okay, well, without further objection, we'll carry that over. 05-11-22, request for permission to work in the right of way, 207 Yorkshire Drive, to remove a pecan tree. Gail Smith.
Yeah, so is Ms. Slaughter here?
Kevin Slaughter.
Kevin Slaughter's here, and so this is the this is a pecan tree, that the homeowner is requesting to take down. It's in the right of way also, and I'll let you talk about why you want to take it down.
Sure, thank you, appreciate it, thank you all.
I'm
We
sorry,
are-
I hate to cut you off, and I should have done this before, but could I get you to sign in, please?
Sure.
State your name and address. My apologies for
No, well,
not doing that earlier. Did you?
There you go, I'm sorry.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate
Thanks, sir.
it. Thank you, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Basically, the request, we're on one of those smaller lots in Homewood. We've got this large pecan tree, we've got a massive acorn tree in the backyard, and a third huge tree that I don't know what it is on our lot. But the problem with this one, and we're all in favor of the trees and love them, but because of it being a pecan tree, as you can see, the canopy of this thing is basically completely eliminating our ability to park in the front, and down to about right here on our driveway to keep us, in order to not have basically hail damage. We've got two of our 3 cars are destroyed because of the pecans falling on them. And it's just an ongoing situation. If we get too far down the back driveway, now we're under the canopy of the acorn tree that covers about 80% of our backyard, which we're okay with. Not trying to do anything with it, but that keeps us from being able to go all the way to the bottom. And so it's creating a scenario where we've only got about 3 cars, if we do it exactly right, parking. If you get down to this end of the lot, where there is about 8 feet that's clear of the canopy above you, now you're directly across from the driveway of our neighbor here, putting you in the line of fire if they back out of their driveway. So just requesting that we could take that down, and if we need to put something else in, that's great, but just trying to save our cars.
Any questions from committee members?
No, if they were to put something else in, would you think you'd put it somewhere else on the front yard? Is that what you're thinking?
I mean,
An
honestly,
oak or
I hadn't gotten to that part. I mean, we would be open to whatever we need to do.
Do they meet the minimum tree density of their lot even? Is that,
Well, this is in the right of way.
This is in the
So
right of
that's,
way.
I mean, it's hard to get used to that because my brain goes to that as well, but, I mean, so they must already meet it.
I can show you
to
some
be in
other pictures
compliance,
of the other
right?
trees.
I mean, for their minimum tree density, I think they have 2 qualifying trees, and I think they need 3.
Okay.
But that's just for them. This doesn't, this wouldn't include this pecan tree.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
We have a dogwood as well
Okay.
in the front.
Yeah, and that doesn't show up on what I'm looking at, so then he meets his minimum trees.
So I think one of the considerations here is, I mean, we have a tree that's in a right of way, which is in healthy condition, which we would be losing as far as the canopy goes for the city, but at the same time, you have a personal situation which is impacting, you know, your vehicles, so there's a balance there. Would you be willing, I mean, have you discussed with staff about, you know, offsetting with the removal of the tree, contributing to the tree fund so that the city could plant trees in the right of way elsewhere? Has that been a discussion at this point?
We haven't talked about it.
Okay.
No, all I know is that Ace turned in an application to have it removed and it was rejected.
Okay.
So we called and asked, and they said, we need to come up here to request your help.
It's $500, right? So
No.
would you say he's got 2 options to do that, or plant another tree?
Have we approved the new tree ordinance?
Not yet.
Because it's gonna be.
Public hearings in December.
Oh, it is? Okay, I was thinking
Yeah,
it
we
was the
set
same.
that public hearing.
Okay. So, and what was the recommendation of the city arborist?
That the tree was in good health,
Okay.
healthy enough to drop cons on the vehicle.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, yeah. And if there was another species tree replanted, would that be desirable, or would we have other concerns about the location of this tree in the right
Yeah,
of way?
so, I mean, I think it would be totally fine to proffer for him to plant a canopy tree in his front yard that would be on the approved tree list.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
So of those 2 potential considerations of proffering a canopy tree in your front yard that is a better species for
Your cars.
you know, for the surrounding yard and vehicles, or contributing to the tree fund, which actually hasn't been approved yet through ordinance, are there either of those viable options for your consideration?
Definitely. I mean, anything to save the vehicles.
Okay.
So, yes. How much would the donation be?
So
I
it's
think there's an opportunity for $500
Yeah.
profit. I mean, so it's a little bit different because now if you can't meet your minimum tree density, you have the option to pay $500 per tree that you can't plant. So it would be $500 before you planted a tree in your yard.
So, yes, either. I mean, okay, and we're not going there, but
Is it small lots?
one thing we were hoping to do was to put in some kind of gravel here, just to try to create more parking since we've got such limited parking. So I don't know how planting another tree right there, if that would work, if we were trying to do that.
Well, also,
that's-
you can't use gravel, I don't think, right?
Something.
No, yeah.
I'm just-
I'm looking at them, you just can't use gravel because it's not one of our approved surfaces.
Sure, something. We're not there yet, but that's a vision.
So is it appropriate to discuss the potential proffer in the upcoming week and make a decision of that, so that it can be officially, the proffer can officially be made at council, or do we need it at the time of the committee motion?
It could be part of the motion. To make it part of the motion.
Okay.
He's allowed to take down the tree in the right of way with the proffer that he either contributes to the tree fund or.
Or plants a complete tree, and he can make that
Was
decision.
one of the 2 options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we give him the right to remove that tree in the right of way with proper indemnifications, and then he's got the option of giving $500 to the tree fund or planting a tree that's on our approved list
Okay.
in his yard.
With the proper indemnification agreement for the work. of the
I
right.
stated that.
Okay, you did, sorry, I was
Sorry.
thinking about the 2 things. So then, what he's basically saying now for the motion out of committee is, it's an either or for the proffer, I guess, it's keeping that flexibility. But I guess we need you to come back on Monday at full council and tell us which one you're
If it comes out before, it'd be helpful for me to be able to. Right?
Yes. So we
So
need,
it's-
so before Monday, if you can notify staff if you were going to pursue with the tree in the front yard, if you're gonna contribute $500. We'll need to know which one specifically you're gonna proffer at the
All right,
meeting.
let's go with $500.
And you don't have to put it back in the same place. I mean,
Okay.
you could put it somewhere else in your front yard. It doesn't have to go in that location. And I think even though I don't know if all canopy trees have to be huge, but I mean, there are a lot of smaller but decent sized trees that would not, that don't have all the nuts and things on them.
Right.
If you want another tree.
Is there a place in the yard to put it is the question.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it knows the answer. I mean, we
Okay.
have another tree
Okay.
that's as big as that or bigger,
Okay.
that's already in the front yard.
Okay, so no more trees,
Yeah.
you're not interested in that?
Yeah, so
Okay,
let's go
so
with
then-
Counselor Gear, did you second Counselor Harden's
Not yet.
motion yet?
Mhm.
Okay. Would you like to withdraw your motion
Alright,
so that we can more specifically make?
All right, I'll redo the motion that I make a motion that we allow him to remove the tree in the right of way with proper identification and and put $500 into the tree fund.
And the removal is expensive.
Yes, removal at his expense.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.
So what do I need to do to follow, how do I follow up that with the ACE tree service in order to move?
So this is only initial committee approval.
Okay.
And there'll be full approval at council next Monday, which is November 28th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
So you need that approval before you can actually remove the tree.
And then we'll collect the $500 before we issue the permit.
Should I be here for the council meeting?
If you do not have any changes, do we officially have his proffer? Do we need for him to come back? Okay.
I don't think so.
I mean, the permit's gonna be conditioned upon that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, as long as nothing changes, then you will not need to be here for the meeting, but you will need to come in to sign the right-of-way agreement eventually, and the indemnification agreement.
After the meeting Monday.
It'll be after the meeting on
Yeah.
Monday,
Right.
yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Okay, 08/11/22 public hearing set for November 28th, 6 p.m. for consideration of a secondary front yard fence setback variance and permission to work in the right-of-way at 1400 Roseland Drive. Ms. Cara Pran and Wyatt Pugh Building Department. Sorry. All right, Mr. Pugh.
Okay. Permit application came in to replace a fence that's existing. The issue is, as you can see from the survey here, this sort of highlighted pink line is the property line, and the green line is the existing fence. The fence, so in order to replace it, in order for me to issue a permit to replace it, there would need to be a variance given from the 15-foot required side yard setback, as well as permission given to reinstall the fence in the right-of-way, because as you can see, it extends beyond the property line into the right-of-way, all the way up to the sidewalk. So there are two requests.
This is a two-part resolution. One would be the side variance, the fence variance. The second is the work in the right of way.
Is this
This
your
is
item?
mine, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, jump in. This is our property here. We had a storm that took out our fence, and we were just looking to replace it. If there is not approval, we would need to chop down those two trees. But in addition to that, we've also planted, we also planted another oak tree and a ginkgo up front. So we're very into trees and would like to continue the life of that tree and the other tree. For
Why do you have to
consideration.
take, with the fence down, what caused you to take those trees down? I'm just curious.
So the oak tree did damage the trees. We have mended them back. but to move that fence.
If you had to
in
move it off
any
the
way,
right
we
of
would-
way.
Yeah, we would have to take out those trees.
Okay,
The-
now I
these-
understand what you're saying.
These big trees right here.
These two,
Yes, sir.
they may be in the right of way. Do you have a survey?
That's our survey.
Maybe this is your survey.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hey Wyatt?
Yes.
So, because this is also in our committee for special issues, so in public works, they're just approving the
Right.
right-of-way work. They
Right.
can't approve the fence variance. The fence variance gets approved.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, you're exactly right. This is a two-committee thing, so, yeah, this committee, I believe, would
Just
be
approved it.
discussing all
Right.
permission to work in the right of way.
Yeah.
And that's to put the fence up.
To put the fence up, yes, sir.
So it's really kind of backwards.
Yeah.
Y'all can approve the work in the right-of-way, but if we deny the ability to put the fence up, it kind of doesn't make sense, but whatever, it's fine. But that's,
We should have special issues first next time.
you know, what a thought, Nick?
Okay, so could I get you to sign in, please?
Yes, sir.
As well, before I forget. So knowing that we're only talking about then the work in the right of way aspect this time, does anyone else have any further questions?
It's just gonna go back exactly the same way.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The only thing is it's right on the sidewalk, but I don't have a big problem with that, but, I'm probably, if special issues is okay with it, I'm fine with, it's really up to special issues. If they're okay with the variance, 15-foot variance setback issue,
We'll know and.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, I agree. I have some other questions related to just confirming material and height, but I think probably belongs in the other discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the work in the right of way.
Pending approval of special issues, or do we need to?
Yeah, well,
I'd say
don't know
we'll
if
make a
it's
motion to
pending.
approve it. I'll
I mean, we
second that.
won't, it won't happen.
Yeah, it won't happen. I'll second it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, special issue's gonna determine.
And that's with the proper indemnification agreement as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great.
If y'all can hang around till the next committee, then.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, thanks. So yes, as Wyatt referenced, special issues is next, so, there'll be
That's great
additional
to hear.
discussion at that time.
Thank you.
Okay, 09/11/22 public hearing set for, sorry, I was thinking about the public hearing for the other one. So actually, we just sent it out without a motion,
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I think that's still okay, because y'all are just approving the,
because the right-of-way work
right-of-way does
doesn't
not-
require the public
no,
hearing. It's-
exactly. That's
okay.
the fence variance.
My apologies.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
you're all
you,
good.
Counselor.
Kind of confusing.
For consideration of a commercial front yard fence variance and permission to work in the right-of-way at 217 Oxmoor Circle. So is this the same
This is
thing?
exactly the same
This is
thing.
the same thing. So actually, we're just looking at
The right-of-way.
the right-of-way work for
Exactly.
approval.
So what, if we're talking about just the right of way, the fence there, the front yard fence they're proposing comes beyond the front property line right here in order to clear the front of all these parking spaces. So it would come out in front here just a little ways and a little bit right there.
This is the one we
And-
looked at before for the hardware store.
No, this is, for the, Board of Education.
At the
This is
corner.
over in 217 Oxmoor Circle.
Just for context too, this is called a commercial front yard fence. When we look at these, Wyatt, I mean, is there really a distinction
No,
other than just knowing when we're making, I guess, decisions on what is appropriate, commercial versus residential, there's a difference. In this case, I mean, really, it's almost industrial,
right.
area.
The fence ordinance does not differentiate, it doesn't say residential, commercial, it just simply says what it says about extending beyond the predominant front line. So probably some changes in the wording of the fence ordinance would help with regard to commercial properties, but we have what we have.
This is the
So-
building, the school board owns this building?
School board owns it.
There's a black looking fence going around it right now, I guess that's the fence.
Do we know that, do you know the zoning of this property? I mean, it may be,
This is over.
It's irrelevant. Don't
Over
worry
by
about it.
West
Top of my head.
Homewood.
that's fine, it's irrelevant. Disregard. Anyone have any additional, is there anyone else here to speak to this item?
Stuart Robinson.
Okay. Is there anything, would you mind signing in if you haven't already?
No,
And
I will.
Go ahead and speak some.
And I like, what's gonna happen with this building, it is Homewood Board of Education. They are gonna have two entities operating out of there. Their Information Technologies Department is gonna be operating out of this end of the building, and this end is gonna be their maintenance department.
Okay.
So the front door is actually up here, this end of the building, and this will be their parking lot. This is where their maintenance equipment and things like that will be going in and out of the building to get worked on, right there. We've also, since I submitted this to Wyatt, have talked with the Board of Education people, and they don't want this fence out here beyond the asphalt. They want me to move it back in and actually core drill the asphalt and put it inside the asphalt line. Because that'll keep them from having to weed eat around that fence if I get it into the asphalt. And then they're not gonna be parking any public parking out here anyway. So they do wanna move everything back at least to the edge of the existing asphalt that was out there.
Why, does that take it out of the right of way?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah, because the edge of the parking spaces coincides with the property line. So
Right.
if you're gonna take it all the way back to the asphalt, I believe this probably just does away with the indemnification portion.
Right.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Kale. I'm sorry. C5. Okay.
I wonder, can you drop part of an
So-
item?
Well,
Just-
in this case, since we're only dealing with the right-of-way work.
Yeah, y'all can y'all don't have to, y'all can, I mean, I guess,
Just
okay.
strike that from
I guess
the
you just,
item.
we just eliminate that part from the item.
Yeah, so I guess it would just be would a motion to drop be inappropriate in this case? I mean, you've confirmed that, I guess,
And
just wanna make sure we have
that's the case all the way
confirmation.
going up on the right side also, on the left side.
Well, this side, here's the property line.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Here's the proposed fence. So it's not-
Along this line definitely, along that line maybe. They wanted, like I said, the purpose was to try to get away from having to weed eat around the bottom of that fence. They could just mow on the outside and not have to worry about it. So at least along this line, the fence post will be in the asphalt.
And on the left side, it's gonna be
Within
in
the property line.
Yeah.
Right on the edge of the asphalt.
I would just say, you could just drop
So
it.
yeah, I'd make a motion to drop.
Well, you.
Just
Can we?
strike, can we just
Yeah,
strike this
that part, yeah,
portion?
cause you can't drop the item, cause the item's also set
Still
for
gotta
public
do the
hearing,
front
you
yard
gotta do
fence
it.
variance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but it's all one item.
Is the fence variance
It's
because
all one
it's
item.
Okay.
within certain?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fir-
so-
the fence variance is because of the
It's because of the front
depth.
yard. It's an additional front yard. So that still
This
has
is
to
all.
be,
Here's Oxmoor Circle.
yeah, so that still has to be done. So we can't strike the item because it's two things in one item, so.
Okay.
But I'm with you, Melanie, I don't understand why we can't just delete that part about the identification.
I make a motion that we just take out the part that has to do with the work in the right of way.
Well, he's withdrawn the request. That's really what's happened.
Okay, great.
No request, really.
So we'll just
Move on.
move on.
Okay. So do you understand?
Yes.
What's being, okay, so with that, we're going to withdraw that part of the request and we'll discuss it more in special issues based on the front yard fence variance
Doing away
request.
with the right-of-way permit requirement.
Yes.
Moving on to the variance in the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. So, with that being withdrawn, There's no other items on the agenda, and we have a motion to adjourn.